Hi there. Welcome back to GodCast, boys and girls. I have missed doing this, and I've heard from a couple of people that they've missed participating in this as well. In any case, I wanted to talk to you this month of February, which is the month about love, about some of the things that Jesus said about love. And I want to start by saying that some things that people ask us to do seem really easy, like would you please take your dinner plate into the kitchen, or would you play a game with me? The other thing, though, that is not always easy are some of the big things that people ask us to do that we may not want to do, or we may not know how to do. We don't have time. So when we think about Jesus, he asked us to love people, and that seems like a really easy thing to do, like loving your mom or your dad or your grandparents or your brother or sister, or maybe a preschool teacher or a teacher at school. Those things could be easy to love those people. But then Jesus made it a bigger request. Jesus asked us to love our enemies. Now, do you know what an enemy is? It isn't necessarily somebody who's bad or mean. Sometimes we think of an enemy as somebody who's just strange or different than we are. Well, Jesus hopes that you and I will love our enemies and be good to those people who aren't good to us. Those are very big things to be asked to do. And over my lifetime, I have not always done that. Do you always love people who've been mean to you? That's kind of hard, isn't it? Do you always love people who maybe are strangers or scare you? That's really hard. So one of the things we need to understand is what Jesus means by love. You know, when I think of loving my mom and my dad, I get kind of a warm feeling in my heart. I want to make them happy or smile or do things for them that are sweet or kind. And that makes me feel good inside. But Jesus, when he says for us to love our enemies and do kind things for those who may be mean, he's not talking about that kind of sweet love in our hearts. He's talking about a different kind of love. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about that. The kind of love that Jesus means when he says love your enemies or do kind things for people who aren't being kind to you is not something that you feel, it's something that you do. Now, that may be a little hard for you to understand because so many times we think we feel love, and so we're gonna do lovingly, but doing love for people that you don't know doesn't require you to feel good inside. It just means doing something that's kind. And sometimes that's hard because we don't always want to be kind, do we? Sometimes we get impatient. Or are you ever crabby? I know that sometimes I'm crabby. I'm crabby when I'm really hungry or really tired, or I've been really busy and I just want to do something for myself, and then I'm expected. Jesus wants me to be kind to somebody else. That can be so hard. And guess what? Jesus knows that. Jesus knows that sometimes it's hard for us to love our enemies and be kind to people who aren't being kind to us. Jesus knows that we need help. And so, one of the places where we get help to love our enemies and be kind when we don't feel like it or when somebody's mean is by being part of a church. That's right. Church is partly meant to help us love when we don't feel like it, love when we get scared, love when we're tired or crabby. And sometimes we just need encouragement for that, don't you? I know I do. In fact, that's one of the reasons that I like coming to church, because every week, either if I'm here or I'm watching it on my computer or my television, I get a big reminder that Jesus wants me to love. That is a great thing. That's a great thing that churches do. And do you know what? That's one of the main reasons that Jesus gathers people into the church. That's from the very beginning, so that we could encourage one another to do the thing that Jesus asks. Love our enemies and be kind to people who might be being mean to us. Will you pray with me? Dear Jesus, thank you that you love us so much, that you know that sometimes it's hard for us to love others. We thank you for the church that reminds us and encourages us to love others when we don't feel like it, when we're tired, and when we're crabby, or just because we want to do something else. Thank you, Jesus. You are so good. Amen.